Welcome back to The Perspective. Now, Siraj, based on this survey, this is the survey, I understand the survey is done globally, but how do you think Indonesia is faring up with its closest neighbors, Southeast Asia, in the region especially?
Indonesia is the dominant economy in ASEAN, and with the sheer size of population and with the sheer size of the growth which is going to happen in Indonesia in the next couple of decades. According to one of our other research, we clearly see that Indonesia is going to add around 40 million more customers who will come into the middle class bracket. So obviously when they move into the middle class bracket, they will have more spending power. They are actually going to buy more. So Indonesia as an economy, I think, is rightly positioned in ASEAN to be the most dominant economy. There are a couple of areas where I think Indonesia can actually learn from other developed economies in the region. One area is the entire area of supply chain, logistics. And that's one area where I think the government can actually help companies in making the right investments. Because Indonesia is huge. I think Indonesia has about 19,000 islands. So how can you use the entire experience of developed markets in supply chain, that can be leveraged to build a better infrastructure to develop e-commerce? One core area. Then the second core area would be in the area of developing digital talent, because people drive digital economy.
Yeah.
So there is an opportunity here for us to look at the best-in-class digital curriculum which is happening in other developed markets and bringing that to Indonesia, because Indonesia has a very young population. So you'll be able to give a better education so that the students coming out of universities will actually be job ready in the digital economy. Okay, so supply chain, then you have the talent, and I think the third most important thing will be the entire security. I go back to the security again. Security of consumer data and security of transactions. So I think those will be the three core areas, which Indonesia can actually take learnings from other developed markets and bring it to the country.
All right. Now, all these three supply chains, logistics, of which the government, physically the government is trying to fix, because Indonesia is very famous for its high logistical costs, digital, the talent and the security, and we talk about the recently launched Asian Economic Community. How can Indonesia take the lead to make sure that it's actually, as the biggest economy in Southeast Asia, to take that lead? 600 million market, it's available for all the 10 countries, and not just Southeast Asia, of course.
See, Indonesia, one, because of its sheer population size, will be a huge contributing factor to AEC as well. The other core area would be the entire manufacturing base. Indonesia has always had a large manufacturing base. So if you look at the entire manufacturing base, you should actually focus on getting foreign direct investment to come into Indonesia, so that the manufacturing base grows in Indonesia, and from Indonesia the products can actually go to other ASEAN countries, because that's another core area of development, I think, which because of AEC coming together, that could be another area where Indonesia can actually make a huge contribution.
All right. Now, by 2030, Jokowi wants Indonesia to be has entered or is prospering in what he calls the digital economy era. What would be, besides infrastructure, what do you think Indonesia, what's the next thing that Indonesia needs to look into to focus for us to go into that direction? Regulations. Well, how do you think the government is doing right now with their economic policy packages?
I think the government is moving on the right track. I've clearly seen the coordinating minister talk about the 7 themes they're actually going to look into for e-commerce development. Apart from that, I think the focus should be on talent development, because if you look at the juice which drives digital economy, it is the young talent. And I have clearly seen in my interactions with some startups in Indonesia that there is talent here. So if Indonesia can actually focus on that talent, then I think Indonesia will have a great future ahead, because there will be many more startups which will come in Indonesia and they will potentially go across ASEAN and then Asia Pacific. and then hopefully rest of the world.
Yeah. Now, talking about talent, I don't think Indonesia is any short of talent. Maybe digital, non-digital. We have a great pool of talent in Indonesia. It's just a matter of how we develop this talent to actually achieve that goal. Siraj, thank you so much for being in the perspective and sharing your Digital Consumer Survey 2015 from Accenture. That has been our interesting conversation, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again pretty soon to see how things have progressed. My name is Florence Armain. Thank you for watching The Perspective on Jakarta Globe News Channel. See you next time.
Thank you.